Hello and welcome back to Getaway Day. This is episode 44. I am Mason. He is Gautam. And we are here to talk some baseball. So last week, we did not do a normal episode. We went and did another Jeopardy episode, and it was a lot of fun. I got to play in this one against Gowie and Matthew. I won't spoil who won, but go check it out on our YouTube channel. How you doing today, Gowie?
Not bad. Kind of get the baseball itch, but not sure if we're going to be able to scratch that so soon.
Yeah, and we'll get to that in a minute. But before we do, if you enjoy our podcast and make sure to subscribe on your favorite podcasting app or YouTube to make sure you don't miss any future episodes. And you can let us know your thoughts in the YouTube comments or leaving a review on Apple Podcasts or by reaching out to us at Facebook or Twitter. Or we now have a Discord server. So let me get that in chat here. Yeah, so that Discord server is a public server, so you could go in there. I've got a whole bunch of channels for baseball cards, talking about baseball itself, fantasy baseball, any of that good stuff. You want to talk about it, come hang out in our Discord and chat with us. With that being said, I think we just get right into podcasting. What do you think?
Let's do it.
All right, so first things first, we're still in a lockout. We're now on, we're going into month 3. I think today is the first day of month 3, right?
Yes, it is.
Oh my goodness.
Too many months of lockdown.
What are we doing here, dude? Why? Like, I know how we got here. I know why they are fighting. Like, come on.
Yeah.
What is going
honestly,
on at this point?
Where's the urgency as well? People always say, why don't they just lock themselves in a room and hash this thing out? And I kind of agree. Like, they need to be meeting every day on this. What else do they have to do? I don't get it.
There's the argument that would be made by the owners themselves that they are businessmen and these are their second businesses, so they have meetings to attend and can't get to this every single day. Which
this
is
a primary
crap.
business for almost every owner.
Yep.
I can't think of many that do many other things.
Steve Cohen, but I think he's maybe one of them that would actually sit in a room and hash this out.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. But yeah, so it wasn't even last week. It was yesterday, I think.
That was the last meeting, yeah.
Or was it Monday?
Yesterday.
Okay. Yeah, so yesterday there was a 90-minute meeting between Major League Baseball and the Players Association. And there was a few modifications to the proposals that the MLBPA had pushed before. And then I believe the MLB owners came back and responded to that, but basically just said the words no, didn't really give a whole lot else. The two main things that they discussed yesterday was the pre-arb bonus pool that both sides agreed to in principle. The players were asking for 105 million, and the league is offering 10 million. So the union came back yesterday and lowered it from 105 to 100. So we're getting closer. We're only 90 million off.
Yeah, it doesn't really seem like much of anything. I mean, it's really I don't even understand why they would do that. That it doesn't seem like it impacts anything.
It really doesn't. So the thing that I can't remember on that, and you may remember this, was that for only the top 30 pre-arb guys, or what? How was that supposed to be split?
Yeah, it was going to be split between all the players who were pre-arbitration. I think top 30 in WAR or something.
Okay, so the league's basically saying if you were to give everybody the same amount, they want to give a third of a million as a bonus to each player. And
Right.
the players are saying, nah, friend, 3.3 million is essentially where they're getting at. So it's the difference between well, I guess it'd be like a 60% bonus over their base salary for guys that are in their rookie seasons, versus essentially second year of pre-arb salary for some of these, or a second year of arb salaries for some of these guys.
Yeah. And
So
I think if you broke down the math, you would find that this is still this still leans towards the owner's side, even if they took exactly what the players have proposed here.
yeah, I agree with you. It does help the players. Like it's going in the correct direction, and I think right now they just need to get a footing set for future negotiations. So
Yeah, I'm a little bit unsure actually about this proposal in general because I think it could end up opening doors that could kill the players down the line when they have these kind of performance based um, payments going out. Then you're getting to the point where um, it'll lead to there being just fixed salaries and just fixed amounts based on performance. And then that's going to end up just killing any player negotiation that they have through the current arbitration system, where they actually get to negotiate and fight for their own salaries.
yeah, and I honestly think it could affect the way that free agent contracts are structured as well. If it works out to where owners decide, oh, this is great, then they may honestly try and structure some veteran guys with contracts like that. Give them a low base salary with a lot of incentives. Um, Incentives that some of them are very obtainable that could escalate your contract pretty easily, but because baseball is all guaranteed money, they're trying to do everything they can to give out lower guarantees.
Yeah, and they
So,
love that. They love the idea of a cost certainty, and that's one of the things that they are asking for. That the in the fight for the minimum salary, the owners want to fix the first, second, and third year salaries without any ability for the teams to pay the players more than those minimums. Or
see,
they're really not minimums; they're just numbers.
the thing that I don't get with that is they have zero obligation to give out anything other than the set minimum salary for that. Anything else they do is purely based on their own policies. So why would you have to fight for a fixed number? You have a
because
fixed
they
number and
because
then
then they
you're
don't
just
look as
allowed
bad.
to.
They don't look bad for not paying their players anymore because it's not even allowed.
Yeah, I guess that's fair. Well, it's not fair. That's
It's
logical.
it's
Um
logical from the owner's perspective. Yeah.
yeah. But yeah, so then the other proposal, though, that was modified this week was regarding service time manipulation. So the union is asking to award full years of service to rookies who finish in the top five of Rookie of the Year voting, top three for Reliever of the Year. That's not rookies, that's just Reliever of the Year. Um, and or make first or second team All MLB. Um, and then after Tuesday, uh, then shoot, I read this and then I just confused myself. Uh, the top seven non outfielders and non pitchers at their position. Oh, okay. So pre-arb guys who basically finish in the top seven at their position out of all of the major leagues would also qualify um, as getting a full year of service time in their first season. So I guess rookies only, not pre-arb. And then for pitchers and outfielders, it would be in the top 20, just because the sheer number of those. So, and so far it looks like MLB is just saying absolutely not to all of that, which kind of checks out from what the owners want.
That's just kind of their one move that they keep going back to.
Yeah, pretty much.
Absolutely not. Yeah.
Absolutely not. It's a non-starter. Talk about something else.
Yeah,
And
and they have the one thing they've been talking about is, that they have not even discussed slightly is the competitive balance tax. It has not been part of the talks at all this offseason.
Yeah. Yeah, that's going to be interesting. So basically what we're saying is we're a long ways out. And
We're a
that's
long ways out, and I'm not feeling good about how it's looking for the player side. I feel like they're gonna get a bad deal again.
I feel like at some point they're going to be the ones that end up uh breaking
Retracting.
ranks just because
Yeah.
they're the ones that aren't getting any money. So they kind of don't have a choice. And something I had thought about is and this is not going to happen. The owners will not let this happen. But what they could do is the owners could always end the lockout. They handshake agreement operate 2022 under the rules of the old CBA as a single season and then renegotiate next year.
There's one thing about that specifically that makes it impossible for it to happen. I mean, not impossible, but highly, highly unlikely. And that's there's a statement in there that says after the 2021 season, there will be no competitive balance tax. So that would make it so any team could spend as much as they want without any sort of penalties. Um, I mean, I think it would be great, but the owners will never stand for that.
Yeah. Although that's kind of a oh, what do you call it? A monster of their own making, isn't it?
Yeah, they agreed to
Like,
that. Like it's
yeah,
part of the CBA.
yeah. Oh well, they're dumb. They just we need baseball. It's gonna be so bad. We've talked about this, I think, for every time we've talked about these negotiations since December 2nd. The longer this drags out, the more fans they lose. And MLB licensees are doing a great job of marketing baseball to new people. I mean, just Monday of this week, MLB The Show did their cover reveal, and their cover reveal had some technical difficulties, and it was kind of clunky. But they named Shohei the cover boy, cover athlete. Cover boy sounds a little not
Don't
offensive,
minimize
but like
Shohei.
it's yeah. So Shohei is the cover athlete, and then today they actually put out a little like 3 minute or minute and a half or something like that video um, showing the MVP edition cover, which they went full anime manga. It was awesome. Go check it out on MLB The Show's Twitter page or Facebook page if you haven't. Um, but they are marketing the crap out of Shohei Otani, and they're bringing it to the Nintendo Switch. They're basically doing everything they can to grow baseball, not just in the U.S. with people here, but grow it in Japan. Get more Japanese baseball fans watching U.S. baseball, and Shohei is the guy to do that. I mean, last year that kind of subset of the fan base just exploded. Um, and so now they're doing that. Topps named Shohei the cover athlete for Topps or 2022 Topps Series One and card number one, which those are not always the same person. So that's a big deal that he got both. And that comes out on February 16th. Um, and so like all these licensees are doing it right. They're trying to get baseball out there so people don't forget about it because I mean that's a big part of their business. If people forget about baseball, they're screwed. Um, and they're marketing Shohei, one of the most probably historically relevant players in our generation. Um, and they're doing it well. And then Major League Baseball's over here twiddling their thumbs, doing nothing, not really caring if we play a season or not. You got Stroman tweeting that he feels bad for the fans. I like at some point we got to figure this out. This is ridiculous.
It is, and I mean, you're right about them definitely being at risk of losing a bunch of fans if they do miss games. And there's so many other alternatives to baseball now that it probably won't be like how it was after the strike way back in the 90s because I don't know, baseball was more popular back then. There's more people that went to games and everything. I feel like it was easier to retain the fans. Now you've got NBA, NFL all rising in popularity. So much other options for entertainment. It's why would you come back?
I should I break out my video game metaphor that I came up with a couple weeks ago?
If you want.
All right, so I think about it this way: the four major sports are video game consoles. The NFL is the PlayStation 5. It's the kind of most coveted one. It's the one that everybody wants. It's got all the cool uh, exclusive games and everything. The NBA comes in a close second at like the Xbox. It is almost as popular as the PlayStation. It's that still that next gen console. People want it, and they will go out and find it. They will go and find all the accessories for it to make it better. The NHL is kind of more niche, but it has a really, really devout fan base. So it's the Nintendo Switch. And then baseball is a Sega Genesis. Like it was cutting edge at the time. And there's a lot of really cool things about it. But then all these other consoles started coming out and getting better and improving and releasing new versions. And baseball is still in the Sega Genesis. They never evolved. So what they need to evolve. They need to become the PC. And they can. There's a very easy way for them to do that. And first step is play the freaking sport. Like, I don't know. I really like that metaphor. I don't know if you guys do. But yeah, like that's kind of how I think about it. Like it was all the rage in the 30s all the way up to the 90s. And then the strike happened. And then the NFL took off. The NBA took off with Jordan. Now, MLS is even getting bigger in the US. It's certainly not big by any means, but it's growing and it's getting a bigger fan base. They're expanding. And baseball's been stagnant. So enough of that soapbox. All right. What do you say we move on to the reason we're actually here today?
Sure, let's do it.
All right. So, about two weeks ago, week and a half, is it the 25th
What?
Hall of Fame announcement?
Oh, it was last week, I believe.
Yeah. So last week, the National Baseball Hall of Fame announced the inductees from the BBWAA ballots. And the only guy who made it in this year, David Ortiz. David Ortiz, in my opinion, very deserving guy. He had like 77 or 78% of the votes. Fantastic player. But I think the bigger story around this year's Hall of Fame was the guys that didn't get in. And guys like Clemens, Bonds, Kurt Schilling, Sammy Sosa, those guys all now fall off the ballot after year 10. They were the steroids guys, except Schilling. He had his own racist comment issues. But yeah, and so it sparked a lot of debate in the last week. And we're not really here to talk about who we think should and shouldn't be in the Hall of Fame because everyone's done that. That's not fun. But I think at the core of the Hall of Fame issue, though, is a lot of people think that people who improve, how do I phrase that? People that make you love the game more, or like infinitely more, essentially deserve to be in. That's why people want Bonds. They want Clemens, because watching those guys made people love the game. Yes, they cheated very blatantly, and that's a big problem and a very justifiable reason to keep them out of the plaque room at the Hall of Fame. They have exhibits in there. It's not like they're shut out entirely. They're just not in the Hall of Plaques. But it got me thinking, why do we only talk about guys that are statistical anomalies, best of the best for making us love baseball. There's tons of players that like only played a couple of seasons or only played a couple hundred at bats in their career that were just outstanding stories and just made me really appreciate baseball. So that's what we're here to talk about today. We are inducting the inaugural class, the 2022 inaugural class of the Hall of Faves here at Getaway Day. Got any
Yeah,
comments before we get into it, Gowie?
it's not quite as hotly contested as the baseball Hall of Fame, but I mean, I think this is going to be a lot more fun.
Oh, absolutely. Um, so who do we want to kick it off with? One of my guys or one of your guys?
You started off.
All right. So my first pick into the inaugural class of the Hall of Faves, Chicago White Sox legend, Yolmer Sanchez. Yolmer was he played 7 years with the Chicago White Sox, amassing a career 4.7 WAR. He is still an active player. He's in the minor leagues for the Braves, or at least was as of last year. I'm not sure where he'll be playing this year. Hopefully, we find that out soon. But Yolmer put up a career 245, 300, 360 slash line with 32 home runs, a 6.5% walk percentage, and a 21.1% K percentage. So I think he is the definition of not a Hall of Famer. If there's any debate that he could be a Hall of Famer, then please pinch me. I must be dreaming. But the reason that he is in the Hall of Faves is Yolmer was probably the biggest source of entertainment of the rebuilding White Sox back in 2018 and 2019. Whenever they lost, I think 100 games 2 years in a row in those two seasons, or was it 2017-18?
They lost 100 games.
They did in 18.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Yolmer was he was so fun. I think the two stories that describe it best are May 3rd, 2018, during I think the first of the 100 lost seasons. Trace Thompson hit a walk-off solo home run, and the whole team is crowding around him. They're in the big pile. Yolmer brings out the Gatorade bucket. You look at him, you're like, yeah, Trace is getting a Gatorade bath. Nope, Yolmer takes about 3 steps back, dumps the Gatorade on his own head. What's more iconic than that?
I think when the first time we started watching those Yolmer Sanchez videos, we were literally rolling on the floor laughing for like 10 plus minutes. It was like some of the funniest stuff we've ever seen probably in a baseball game.
And that's not even the funniest one. The funnier one is from the next season. So May 27th, 2019, there was a rain delay, and the game hadn't started yet. I don't think. I think they were just ready to play it. Rain delay. It was like 2.5 or 3 hours long, and then they canceled the game. Like, it was a rough time, and Yolmer's out there trying to just entertain the team, and some fans stuck around the stadium. Well, he went out on the tarp and started making dirt angels on top of the tarp. He's dirty, he's sopping wet. It's just funny. And then in the middle of the pouring rain, he goes and grabs the Gatorade bucket again, comes back out into the tarp and dumps it on himself again for no reason.
Yeah, I mean, Yolmer Sanchez, ultimate teammate, A+ teammate. You just got to have that guy that does not take himself too seriously, willing to make a fool of himself. I feel like it just helps everyone relax.
Well,
Great.
And now his little brother is in the White Sox org, and I really hope his little brother is the same way. So we'll see.
Who's his brother?
Yolbert.
That's his brother.
Yep.
Okay.
So
be waiting for him. I don't think he'll be able to top his brother, but we'll see.
No, I don't think anyone can top his brother either. But we'll try in the next five inductees here. All right, so who's your first? Or if you have any more on Yolmer, go for it. But
I think on pure hilarity, no one's gonna top Yolmer. Like, it's just impossible. First ballot in the Hall of Faves. Yeah.
Not just the first ballot. He's the
First
first
inductee.
unanimous, I think.
Yeah, for sure.
All right.
Okay, my first guy is a kind of a throwback guy. I was initially thinking about Terrence Gore, the pinch runner extraordinaire of the current era, but I did a little digging and I found a guy by the name of Matt Alexander. I was not familiar with this player until recently, but he was drafted by the Cubs. He made it to the majors in 1973, played through 1981. His number one skill was pinch running. He actually pinch ran 271 times in his career, and he stole 91 bases as a pinch runner over his career. So this guy was Terrence Gore before Terrence Gore. You kind of think of Terrence Gore as being like a really specialized modern day player, but this is something that existed way before Terrence Gore existed. Um, he just some of his just season lines are hilarious because of the number of plate appearances he had, but then the number of games he actually played. So in one year, in 1975 with Oakland, he had 63 games played, but he only had 11 plate appearances. Um, and he was able to steal 17 bases that season. So overall in his career, he stole 103 bases, caught stealing 42 times. He actually won a World Series with the Pirates of all teams. So
Which
for a
automatically
guy,
qualifies you for the Hall of Faves.
exactly, yeah. For a guy that put up -1 WAR in his career, he's probably not remembered by very many people at all. I had no idea who he was. I don't think you did either.
I did not. And
So
I could tell you the other reason why not. The one season that anyone gave him a chance to actually try hitting. He only got 74 plate appearances across 45 games, but that was the most plate appearances he ever had in a season. He still just barely was above the Mendoza line at 204. Like, it was, he was not a good hitter.
no, he really wasn't. And I did read also that once he was out of the major leagues, he went and played in the Mexican League, and he actually stole 73 bases, which was the Mexican League record. And he was 36 years old. So this
Dang,
man always had wheels.
that's impressive.
Yeah. Yeah. So Matt Alexander, the pinch runner inductee to the Hall of Faves.
Love it. All right. So my next guy, ooh, which order do I want to do this in? We'll go here. My next guy is incredibly unique. Um, switch hitters are all the rage. Everybody switch hits. Unless you're Cedric Mullins and then you quit switch hitting because you realize that you're bad at it. Same with Tucker Barnhart. But how many switch pitchers have you ever seen? The answer should be one. There's only one. And it's so unique. He has a rule that was written specifically because of a situation he got into in high A, playing for the Staten Island Yankees. I think it was high A. But essentially, back in the short season A against the Brooklyn Cyclones. So basically, what happened is Ralph Enriquez of the Brooklyn Cyclones came up, and he's a switch hitter. Venditti, not Vendite, Venditti. Pat Venditti is on the mound, and his glove has 6 fingers on it, so he can literally just switch his glove between hands. It's really cool. You should look it up. But Enriquez and Venditti are just staring at each other, trying to figure out which way Venditti's going to pitch, which way Enriquez is going to hit. Enriquez comes up to bat as a righty. Venditti switches his glove. He then switches sides of the plate. Venditti switches his glove. It went on for 7 minutes. Managers are coming out talking to the umpires. The umpires are talking to Venditti. They're talking to Enriquez.
And the fans are saying, "Pace of play. What's going on here?" Where's the action?
And then it got to the point that the announcers were frustrated, just saying flip a coin. And in that instance, they ended up just telling the hitter to bat right-handed, and then Venditti chose to throw right-handed. But after that, whenever he came up to the majors in or I guess right before he came up to the majors, official baseball rule 5.07 paragraph F. A pitcher must indicate visually to the umpire-in-chief, the batter, and any runners the hand with which he intends to pitch, which may be done by wearing his glove on the other hand while touching the pitcher's plate. The pitcher is not permitted to pitch with the other hand until the batter is retired, the batter becomes a runner, the inning ends, the batter is substituted for by a pinch hitter, or the pitcher incurs an injury. In the event a pitcher switches pitching hands during an at-bat because he has suffered an injury, the pitcher may not, for the remainder of the game, pitch with the hand from which he has switched. The pitcher shall not be given the opportunity to throw any preparatory pitches after switching pitching hands. Any change of pitching hands must be indicated clearly to the umpire-in-chief. How many guys are so unique they get a full-on paragraph in the rule book?
Yeah, that is amazing.
So Venditti is my second nominee inductee here.
Yeah, I wonder, do you know when he picked that up, or was he always a switch pitcher, like going way back to when he was a kid?
If I remember right, it was all the way back to when he was a kid. In Little League, he had two different gloves, and his dad just taught him to pitch with both arms because he's ambidextrous in general. So they just taught him to pitch with both arms just so that he could decide, and then he never decided. He just kind of did both. So
yeah, and I did notice that he was significantly better against left-handed batters. He only allowed a 176 batting average while against right-handed batters, they kind of teed off on him, 276 batting average versus right-handed batters. So, I mean, maybe he would have been better if he just stuck with one side. You never know. But it is cool that he was able to do that and kind of have a pretty good major league career, at least from a perspective that he was able to stick on the major league teams for so long.
yeah, and I think he's in the Yankees organization now, isn't he? Or no, he was drafted by the Yankees. Sorry. Looks like the last time he pitched was with Miami.
2020.
Yeah, and he did not play in the minors last year. But yeah, so Pat Venditti, congratulations and welcome to the Hall of Faves. Golf clap. There you go.
Okay, the next pick here is a little bit different than the ones we've done so far because this guy had superstar written all over him. And that's Jose Fernandez, who tragically was killed in a boating accident when he was just 24 years old after his fourth season in the major leagues. Pitcher for the Marlins, got drafted in 2011 in the first round, really quickly worked his way through the minor league system, making it to the majors as a 20-year-old in 2013. And pretty much right from the get-go, this guy was an elite pitcher in the National League. He had Tommy John surgery in 2014, so he missed some time in 14 and 15. That didn't really do much to his performance at all. When he came back, he was basically the same, if not better. Striking out tons of guys, had a great fastball, average over 96 miles per hour. Amazing curveball, amazing changeup. So this guy had it all. Plus, he had the personality kind of thing of it. He was the Marlins. The Marlins were awful when he was on the team. They were just kind of they had an okay season in 2016, but when you think of Marlins during that time, Jose Fernandez is pretty much the only thing you would think of at that point.
Fernandez and Giancarlo Stanton, and those were the two guys keeping that franchise afloat, basically.
Right.
And then I think in 16, that was when Yelich and Ozuna were there as well. And it started looking like everything, and JT Realmuto, and it looked like everything was starting to go the Marlins' way. And then the boating accident, and then it kind of fell apart for the team after that.
Yeah.
So it was just really, really tragic. But when he was there, it was really cool to see like just how important he was to that franchise.
Yep.
And I think a lot of people, granted, it's easy to say this right now, knowing that you'll never be able to find out, but I think a lot of people think that he was on a Hall of Fame track. Like he had Hall of Fame talent for sure.
He was one of the best. He has like some of the best statistics for a under 25 pitcher to start their career. He stacks up with like the best of them.
Yeah, I think when we did the best historical seasons episode, I think we talked about him as having one of the best, or like the best rookie pitching season ever. I think he
Yeah,
was in that episode. So
he definitely would be in that category. And um, yeah, he just he knew that he was really um, he had all that talent, and he was very ambitious and kind of he knew his abilities, and he was very like open about it, I guess.
people thought
Not
he
in
was
a
cocky,
Yeah, people thought he was cocky. He was more just like I kind of
confident.
just think he just was very confident. Yeah.
Yeah.
And he knew that he was so I read this story on him actually about how he was kind of gearing up for free agency because he would have been the youngest pitcher to reach free agency since Greg Maddox, because he would have reached free agency as a 26-year-old because he made the majors as a 20-year-old. And he had Scott Boras as his agent, and basically they were thinking that Jose Fernandez's contract was going to be like the biggest pitcher contract ever,
Yeah,
and
and
he
and
might have been able to
his
get like 10 or 11 years,
and his numbers
basically.
were backing that up, because I mean, even with the two injury seasons, he had 14.7 F4 in the 4
Yeah,
years of his career, which
right.
for only pitching 13 games for 2 years is really, really good. He had a 4 point something, 4.7, I think, in his rookie season, and then a 6.2 in his final season.
Yeah,
Like, he was so good.
he was so good. Yeah, I don't know. Like this one's just a one that we're just kind of doing a what if sort of thing. We obviously have no idea what would happen had he been able to play out the rest of his career, but seemed like he was really going to be the top of the league for a long time.
Yeah. Um. All right. You ready to go to my last inductee here?
I am ready.
Okay, my last inductee, and I'll give a little bit of background here before I tell you who it is. Gautam already knows, obviously, but we had numerous conversations since we met back in 2014, going off to college, about if I were forced to get a Cubs jersey, who would I get? And then we did the same thing with Gautam. And for years, once he came up in 2014. Yeah. So basically the entire time we were in college, my answer was the same. And partly because he was a bench guy that just had a fun name, didn't really do a whole lot. Career numbers: 231, 312, 355 slash, and only 667 career plate appearances with 12 home runs. But it's all because of the name. Matt Caesar. SZCZUR. One vowel, 6 letters. Vowels not until the very end,
A
and it's
lot
a
of Z's.
U. Yeah, so many Z's. Like, Carlos Zambrano might be big Z, but Matt Caesar is 2Z, which is way better. So I would rather take two of something than just have a large one.
Okay.
Um, but yeah, so Matt Caesar and Matt Caesar, the legend of Matt Caesar basically grew in 2016 during the NLCS and the World Series. So Anthony Rizzo struggled really badly in the NLDS, in the first couple games of the NLCS. He just could not hit, or he couldn't catch up to fastballs, and just generally sucked. And then all of a sudden, one game, his bat looked a little skinny, a little short. And people couldn't figure out why. And then he just started raking. He had a big dinger in game four. And then it came out later that it's because he switched to Matt Caesar's bat. It was 2 ounces lighter, an inch shorter. It allowed Rizzo to catch up to the fastball, and it broke him out of his slump. And he never came back off his tear during the NLCS and the World Series. He just went off, and it worked so well for Anthony Rizzo that the next day, Addison Russell decided that he wanted some of that luck. So he went 3 for 5 with a home run and 2 RBIs. Actually, that was in the same game 4. They both went to Matt Caesar and said, "We need something from you." Rizzo got the bat. You know what Addison Russell took? His underwear. Addison Russell went 3 for 4 with a home run and 2 RBIs wearing Matt Caesar's underwear. And then
so this guy's clearly magic.
And then the next day, Addison Russell wore Matt Caesar's leggings and hit another 2-run home run and a single. So it became a thing. Zobrist was asking Caesar what he's got for him. And Matt Caesar wasn't even on the roster. Like, he did not make the NLCS roster. That's the biggest thing. So it was just fantastic. And you can't have that be your legacy and not go into the Hall of Faves. He was still trying to hang around in professional baseball. He played for AAA Memphis last year for the Cardinals. Ended up getting cut in July, I believe, and didn't find another team. But yeah, Matt Caesar.
Yeah, every World Series run needs a glue guy like that, and Matt Caesar was definitely that for the Cubs. And you know, that's why we won the World Series. Clearly,
All right, we have one more spot.
he's a special person.
He is a special person.
And
just
especially special.
Just list his accolades before you give the name. Just see if our listeners can figure out who it is.
List his accolades?
Well, his teams mostly, but that would be his accolade.
We're going to go with his teams played for, starting in 2001 with the Gulf Coast League Dodgers as a 17-year-old. Then I'm going to go a little fast here just so we can get through it tonight. He played for the South Georgia Waves, the Jacksonville Suns, the Los Angeles Dodgers, the Las Vegas 51s, the Durham Bulls, the Tampa Bay Devil Rays, the Navegantes del Magallanes, the Tampa Bay Rays now, the Detroit Tigers, Arizona Diamondbacks, Chicago White Sox, St. Louis Cardinals, Washington Nationals, Chicago Cubs, Atlanta Braves, Miami Marlins, the Jupiter Hammerheads, the El Paso Chihuahuas, the San Diego Padres, the Norfolk Tides, the Baltimore Orioles, the Syracuse Chiefs, the Washington Nationals, the Nashville Sounds, the Oakland Athletics, the Stockton Ports, the Las Vegas Aviators, the Toronto Blue Jays, the Buffalo Bisons, the Toledo Mud Hens, the Detroit Tigers, and in 2021, the Independent League High Point Rockers. He pitched 1 inning.
Okay, so that's 14 major league clubs.
14 major league clubs. I believe at least 8 minor league teams, a winter league team in Venezuela,
an independent
league team.
Plus, he's a 1-time All-Star and a 1-time World Series winner.
That is correct. And I guess I should say his name. We're talking about Edwin Jackson, of course, who has that record for most teams played for in the major leagues with 14. He also pitched a no-hitter in 2010 with the Diamondbacks, where he threw 149 pitches and walked 8 batters. Very Edwin Jackson start. This guy always had really great stuff, not the best command. He's had some better years, some pretty bad years, and he's basically baseball's nomad, especially since 2015 when he's just been like all over the place. Not really too successful, but you know, people still want him around because he's a great clubhouse presence. Um, I feel like he can impart a lot on the young players just because he's seen so many different working environments around the major leagues. So
Yeah, and the thing that impresses me the most about him is you would assume that a guy who plays for 14 different teams would be just pretty bad if he's on that many teams. But he only had 4 seasons with a negative WAR, and only one of them was lower than -1, and it was -1.1 in his final season. Like, he was solid.
yep,
Um, he had a couple seasons where he was pretty average, but he had a run there where he was putting up like 3.5 WAR every year, in 9, 10, 11, followed by a couple of 2 WAR seasons. Like, Edwin was kind of a good pitcher.
yeah, he was. Um, Definitely not. He was a really hyped up prospect when he came up. He didn't really get to that level, but definitely here and there he showed the flashes of the potential that he always had. I'm hoping that he'll latch on with some major league team, his 15th major league team in 2022.
Okay, so which team do we want him to go to? I've got to try and remember which ones he hasn't been to. I realize we just listed them, but that's
It's
too
almost
many to
50. It's
remember.
almost a 50-50 proposition.
I know.
He had an offer
He
in
went there.
2020, I believe, to a minor league deal with the Mets. So that would be like a new team for him.
Okay, so a place where I think he has a really legitimate shot. Plus, if he starts out in the minors, I could go watch him. Pittsburgh. He's not played in Pittsburgh, has he?
No, no, he's not.
And honestly, he'd come in and probably would be a really good bullpen or not bullpen. The one where the hitters sit. Dugout presence. There we go. Clubhouse. That's the word I was looking for. Great clubhouse presence for young guys like Mitch Keller, who,
And he'd probably be the third best pitcher on the team.
yeah, honestly, yeah. But I honestly think Mitch Keller needs a guy like that because Mitch Keller was a really big prospect and he's not been good in the majors. And he could very well go off and do a Jameson Tyone thing or a Garrett Cole thing, go somewhere else and be just absolutely stellar. Bring in Edwin. Let him Josh McCown him.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. Edwin Jackson, he's like been around for so long, yet he's still only 38 because he broke into the majors so young when he was like 20.
Oh,
So
did you mention that he was on the world champion WBC Team America or Team USA?
was he on that team?
I thought so.
He was on the recent. Oh yeah. He was. He he's a world champion.
So in two senses of the word, World Series, World Baseball Classic. So, any other comments on Edwin?
I think that should do it.
All right. So in review here, the 2022 inaugural class of the Getaway Day Hall of Faves: Yolmer Sanchez, Pat Venditti. You're not doing little golf claps. There you go. Matt Caesar, Edwin Jackson, Jose Fernandez, and Matt Alexander.
Woo!
Woo! Yeah, so let us know some of your favorite players who are not Hall of Famers. They just made you love the game. You can let us know in our Discord server, on our YouTube, on our YouTube comments, Facebook or Twitter pages at Getaway Day Pod there. And just let us know. And then before we go, we have an announcement regarding next week. So we've been doing every other week. We've been playing games, doing a podcast. Well, we're finally going to do back-to-back podcasts. And we have a big guest coming on. My friend Ashley Sanders, she's a Twitch streamer, Twitch partner, MLB The Show content creator. She's going to be here next week. We're going to talk a little bit about Twitch and baseball, and her Chicago White Sox, and a little bit of this, that, and everything. So it should be a great time. Definitely tune in. We'll be recording that live here next Wednesday. I believe it'll be the same time, but I need to confirm that with her. And yeah, it should be a lot of fun. So
Looking forward to it.
all right. So unless you have any closing comments, I think we just take it on out of here. What do you think?
Yeah. I just need my bucket to do my Yolmer dump.
That would be, why didn't we plan that ahead? That would have been great.
Should have. Yeah.
At least of like ice or something, so you pick it up and not have the floor be completely soaking wet. But all right. Thank you guys for joining us today. Like I said, reach out to us on Facebook, Twitter, Discord, any of those. I will make sure to tweet out the Discord link so that you can get that. Otherwise, we will see you back here next week, and have a great day.